Welcome back to the cutting room floor. I'm your host, Rachel Omondi, and this is fashion's only fashion show. All right, let's talk showrooms. If you're in fashion, you've likely heard of a showroom. And maybe this is more important for the designers, we'll see in a minute, but you might not know why showrooms matter or if they're even still relevant to functions of the business.
The largest industry is the making of all kinds of clothes.
So, long before social media or e-commerce, the way that clothes found its way to consumers was executed through the relationship between designers and the customer. But then came the middleman who could bridge the gap between the designers and the consumers. And showrooms, which took off in the 1940s, were born. A fashion showroom is a space where designers or brands display their collections to buyers, stylists, and the media before those products reach the stores. It's kind of like fashion's TLDR in a way, whereas if you missed the runway show, the showroom can be your one-stop shop. So each season, New York's garment district was flooded with buyers coming to visit showrooms.
Leave it here? Red combination, okay.
I want 2,500 red.
But by the 1980s, the showroom had evolved into this hyper-curated experience. It was an intimate, exclusive, in some cases an invite-only space that became a multi-brand environment of the best brands all under one roof. In fact, that's how brand reputations were built. If a brand was represented by one of the best showrooms, it gave that brand a level of industry-wide legitimacy. But as fashion globalized, that kind of intimate showroom experience gave way to scale. And then came the trade show. Popular trade shows like Project or Magic in Las Vegas hosted thousands of brands at once, making it harder for smaller directional labels to stand out. My guest today, Chris Corrado, is a real industry veteran in the showroom business.
I'd call it the real business of fashion.
Chris, who grew up in Kennebunk, Maine, got his start in mall retail and fell in love with clothes when he visited Europe for the first time.
The real turning point for me was I studied abroad when I was a senior in college. Really cute girls in Italy wearing the diesel Intarsia D sweater. And I just was in love with everyone and thought it was so cool.
After starting an agency in the early 2000s to represent emerging labels on the mass trade show circuit, in 2007, he co-founded Capsule, a trade show that prioritized curated taste over just sheer volume. As anyone in fashion in New York in the 2010s will know, Capsule was the place to discover your next favorite brand. It was a perfectly scaled show that had a real community and a great selection of both up-and-coming and established brands.
Capsule was really, again, not to sound lame, it was just about what was cool.
Today, Chris runs the Showroom Plus Plus, which is a modern evolution of that same idea. A showroom, an agency that acts as a matchmaker between brands and retailers. But Plus Plus is more than just a space for designers to exhibit and buyers to view. It supports brands with strategy, storytelling, community building, because to have retail success these days, you need more than just a good product. You need a following.
If you don't have a community and you just have an idea of product, you don't have a brand.
Plus Plus works with so many great indie labels, including Miaou, Collina Strada, Ling, as well as larger labels like Salomon, which Chris and his team helped catapult from a niche performance brand from Europe to a full-blown global fashion phenomenon, even brokering their hit collaboration with Sandy Liang.
It just scorched, and everyone was like, holy shit, what just happened?
Chris is an OG in the business with more than 30 years in retail and showroom experience combined. And this is just another great episode of Inside Baseball. It's just a detailed look behind the curtain for anyone curious about the business of showrooms, modern retail, and how cool brands break through in the age of social media. All this and more on the cutting room floor. Here we go.